Welcome to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social, where we help you stay ahead of social media trends, share the latest news, and highlight the strategies that are working to help you grow your business. Now let's join our hosts, Tristan and Jeff, in 3, 2, 1.
So we are back for a continuation from episode 127. This is episode 128 of the Social Genius podcast. And Tristan, I just got off one of our coaching calls. So for those of you that aren't familiar with this platform, but you listen to this podcast, thank you for being here. But we have this group coaching, which is really the lion's share of what we do. But we also do some more in-depth coaching and brand management and video editing. And so we have primarily a service that most people like is they like to pay $500 a month for 10 short form video edits a month. If you didn't know that existed, well, then you should absolutely reach out to us about that. However, so what we do is those people, Tristan, get that extra coaching call per month where we do some strategy and we do some talking. And of course, they get the edits. Now, the two particular people that were on this call, it ended up to be actually really great because they really confided and worked with each other. And come to find out, they both have these massive limiting beliefs, which I reminded them that so does every other human, about just how to create it, when to create it, what they should look like. I don't like how it sounds, blah, 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 right? All the typical stuff. Mind you, both of these people are both very faith-based that cuss a lot. So it's a very interesting dynamic. It's kind of entertaining. But as we were talking, it got to that point where I reminded them that I said, look, where you both are at as you go down this journey of content creation and growing and building your brand, I'm like, you have to remind yourself that your competition, everyone else out there is going through the same struggle as you. They have that same mental block. They have that same limiting belief. And I said, as much as social media is attraction, it's also intimidation. And let me tell you why. Your competition, you're the person that's selling this in the same market as you, the person that's attracting and recruiting the same people you're recruiting also has these mental blocks and limiting beliefs. And you're going to win with consistency. Doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be consistent because the reality, Tristan, is people aren't even watching our videos anyway.
Nope.
And so, but they're seeing us over and over and over again. And you and I live this. Like people tell us, and I'm sure you get this a lot too, I see you all the time. You're always there. Yet when we get down to brass tacks, I'm like, but you didn't watch the video, but they're seeing me, right? And I think that's something for those of you listening to this, you need to understand that there's so much opportunity. That's where the opportunity is. No, I don't think, honestly, Tristan, I think we have the biggest and best job security of anything we've ever done because I feel like most humans will always be scared to death to enter this arena at a level they need to. And that's where that opportunity exists for so many people. I'll shut up for a second and let you comment.
That was good, dude. I think as much as it is an attraction-based opportunity with all the social outlets, it's also an opportunity to filter out who isn't your audience. And we kind of forget about that part because we hear, well, look at how many followers this person has. Look at how many followers and engagement this person has. Right, we don't ever see the real engagement of that person who's got 1,800 followers, but they get business out of it because, they show up as themselves and people love that piece, man. Yeah. That's a great point. What a great point.
It was also validating though too that I think you need, it's what they always say, right? You got to put yourself in the rooms of the people that are going to challenge you, makes you uncomfortable, lift you up. And this was a great example today. And we talked about it. It's like you guys are here with me because you've seen what I've done and what Tristan has done, and it's inspiration to you. But here we still are with these blocks. And that's why it was really important for them to be with each other because they both said it. They're like, man, I was really glad you were here today. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That was good. Yeah.
It's put yourself in those rooms is really, and that's another reason why I think, because, our last Social Genius group coaching call, like the feedback we got at the end of that was just like, wow, this was powerful. And that's typically what happens. Like we go in with it with a with an idea or a topic, and then questions get fired off and we just roll with it. And I think that's really the important piece for people is no matter where you are in this journey, if you're struggling, then put yourself in the room. I know that's a shameless plug, but we created this because we found a need. And if you need to be in that room, even if you don't even, communicate or engage with us in those calls, but you're listening, like that's going to be really valuable for you and your brand. And if you want one level up and you want to actually create it and help us make it better, then hey, we've got that for you too. So it's a good way to start this as we continue the conversation about finding, going deeper on finding your social pillars, finding your voice, which is what we were talking about in episode 127.
Well, let's continue on that. I think the first question based on where this conversation started should really be, why don't we identify what our limitations are? I don't know that we ever talk about that. And because you said this last coaching session I missed, you had two faith-based people that curse a lot, right? So that presents a conundrum. It's like, what do I do? So I think a great question to start with is, what limitations should I have on social media? Are there any topics I'll be avoiding? And are there any words I won't be using? I think that
fits right into that pillar there, doesn't it?
It does, man. It does. And look, we thought about these guys. And if you need this, just message either of us. We'll send this over to you, or jump into group coaching. We've got the whole recording set. But if I'm looking at Jeff, I'm going to go to you, and then I'll answer it too. But if I'm going to just both of us, and we're looking at this, are there any topics that you'll be avoiding? In general, all social, because I know one of your outlets or a couple of them are just Ozarks, but I'm talking about everything. Is there anything that you're going to avoid?
I mean, yeah, for me, for sure. I personally, although I preach that those are faith-based, which by the way, I am faith-based. It's for me, it's a little uncomfortable. To me, it's more private, right? And so I don't wear that on my sleeve. And you agree or disagree, it's just who I am, and I choose not to wear that on my sleeve. Same with politics, man. And it's not because I don't. Well, it is partially because I don't claim a side, because I think I'm like a lot of our generation and the generations below us that are just anti-Republican, Democrat. Like, yeah, it's just, why does it have to be that way? Why can't I just choose to vote for the person that I like the best at that time? And so I you know me, I play politics just to get a rise out of people. I guess, those are two topics, and definitely race, you mentioned that last week, but at the same token, I've got some really good friends that are African Americans that, and partners, and frankly, I've learned a lot from really going deep on the topic of race and racism and the history of things, and it almost makes me want to be even more passionate to speak out for that. But I still don't feel like I'm the authority or the right person that should be doing it, so I shy away from it.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. I think the last piece of that is, I think sometimes we're not prepared for the conversations that'll happen because we put ourselves out there, right?
By now, you certainly know that Instagram is a social media platform that is arguably the most important platform to establish your brand and business as we head into the future. Understanding that growing a following is simply what the world tells you is important, but in actuality is purely vanity with very little results. And that's why we have come to really appreciate and endorse Michelle Berman with the Instagram Power Method, who teaches you how to actually connect with ideal clients and attract them to you without having to sell. Michelle comes from a place of practicing what she preaches, as she has built her business 100% through organic Instagram leads. Everything is rooted in sales psychology and conversation based on tapping into the brains of your ideal client. Vanity metrics are for, well, vanity. Go connect with Michelle today. Check out powermethodmasterclass.com. That's powermethodmasterclass.com, and be prepared to change your business's life.
Like I'm not prepared for some of the drama, right? So I just shy away from it. I'm like, I'm ready for this over here. Yeah, bring it on. The housing market's not going to crash. Bring that on, right? And if it does, then I'm also prepared for saying I was wrong. I'm prepared for that. But on this end, I'm not quite prepared mentally for it. So I agree with you too. I'd pick those three, although for religion, I think probably I've posted up I've done a few videos on religion a few times. Those do well. I don't necessarily shy away from that. Politics, I'm more like you. And race, for the most part, I shy away from it as well.
Is there anything else?
Sometimes I think I don't talk enough about relationships. I know you're starting a channel on relationships, right? I think I've thought about relationships more along the lines of children, raising children, right? I think I'm almost prepared to talk about that, right? But again, I think the thing you have to think is, are you prepared? And I don't know if we'll ever be, but are you prepared to at least defend your stance and shift along with it and be like, you know what, I was wrong. I didn't see it that way. Yeah. And I think that's something that we don't think far enough in advance unless you're actually doing it. Like you, Jeff, you got shit for that boat thing.
Yeah.
And you had to either stand your ground, shift a little bit. Well, and tell me about that.
Yeah. All of the above. Yeah. I mean, and so, so for anybody not aware, there's a boating accident, which is not uncommon. This one got some national news because the boater was driving at night and boat flipped over, hit a house. Nobody died, miraculously. But I look at myself and my geographic area as the aggregator of the things that are going on. And I think important topics are topics that I should cover. And a lot of people disagree with me. They're like, you're an idiot. Why do you have to comment on this? But, my response was, well, why does the news station have to comment on it? Because they're a news station? Well, I'm a news station on TikTok. Like, so, I mean, it's all in that perspective. And we have such an antiquated mindset about it. And I really, truly know and believe that people are turning to social for news because they want more of a raw opinion. And that's what I gave them. And then it led into me, giving my opinion of the situation, which is this boat driver was an idiot. Any boat driver who's driving after they've been drinking and then driving at dark and then driving 60 miles an hour, you're asking for death, literally. And I even defended myself on some people that commented and said, well, those are harsh words. I'm like, well, I mean, idiot's pretty quiet, really. It's a calm word, because you know what? If that was my brother or my dad or myself, I would call myself an idiot, because I just made a big mistake. And I apologize if I offended somebody. Some people did correct me on some things. Like I made a comment how they didn't have life jackets on, and I agreed. Like, so I went with it. Like, yeah, you're right. That really doesn't matter, because A, they landed on land, so what does a life jacket matter? And two, adults typically don't wear life jackets anyway when they're on boats on the lake. And so, they were right. It was a good point. And so I just kind of agreed with them. I think the hardest part for a lot of us when it comes to all this stuff, Tristan, is like you said, are you prepared for what's going to come? Because you're going to get trolled. You're going to get hated on. And by preparation, in my opinion, the preparation to respond in a way that is not controversial, to kind of show your true colors. And, you and I call it kindness. Responding with kindness, or maybe matter of fact, but don't respond in a combative way, because all you're doing is fueling it. And really, you're fueling your own anger and anxiety that's going to end up driving you away from social. I think that's the bigger point.
Yeah. I think that you also need to realize if you're getting heated, it's time to put the phone down or the computer away. and just come back to it later, come back to it maybe tomorrow, later in the day, when you're not so emotional. Jeff, now I can spot when I'm getting a little bit heated internally, right? When I'm getting defensive, that's when I know. And you've seen me defensive, Jeff.
Yeah.
So when I get defensive, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's time to put this thing away. I'm going to just flip it upside down. Let's just get my thoughts in order. Let's approach this a different way. It's not who I want to be.
Yeah.
Right. As we all get there. So, all right, you pick the next one, man, because we've got a few to pick here from.
That leads over to what is my purpose for me. And so I think that's one of the things you really have to understand. So that goes back to the reason why I did the boating video and the reason why I will share those sorts of things. But there's also the reasons why I stopped doing it, because there was an update and it actually showed the driver's picture. And some people messaged me and said, you should put this out. And I'm like, I decided not to. I decided to let it go. But I understand what I feel like my purpose is. And my purpose is to be what I just described. It's the aggregator of the things around a community. I love my community. I'm going to live there full time soon. And I want to be the person that shares what's happening there. I want to share the good things that are happening, but I'm also going to share the bad things that are happening. And I'm going to share everything. But ultimately, my primary goal is to lift that community up, to say, I love this community. I believe in this community. I believe you should want to live in this community, and here's why. And I do that through my content, by sharing lifestyle, by sharing, various interviews. I did an interview over the weekend, Tristan, with a new property management company, and come to find out, I didn't know this going in. They're pretty new. They've just started it in the last few months. They have no customers yet, and they're really hoping that this will help spark that. And ironically, I already connected them probably to their first customer. And, that made me feel really good. Like, damn, like this is what I'm here for. Like, I'm going to help lift this company up, because property management companies at the Lake of the Ozarks, for whatever reason, like all the companies that are there are like very antiquated, very set in their ways, kind of lazy the way they do it. And there is a much need. We need this. We need a young, hungry local people to step in and do a better job. And I'm cool. I'm really excited about helping lift this business up. And so you got to know your purpose. What is your purpose? Why are you there? And then just go freaking all in, man. Put blinders on and go all in on it. And that's my take on that. What's yours?
Well, hold on. I think that's only one of your purposes, because I think that this is where it gets confusing for a lot of people. They look at social media, they could look at yours and mine, and they're like, but you guys are delivering different messages in different platforms. I'm like, yeah, but it took a while to get there. So I think let's focus on one at a time. This is why I loved Jeff's response. He's saying, hey, I'm all about this community, and I want to show people how it is to live here all around and what's involved, right? That's the one thing, even though Jeff on Drunk on Social and on other ones, he's talking about other things. So I think with your purpose, start with one. What are you doing on social? Why are you using it? And what do you hope to accomplish? For me, if I decide to pick one, Jeff, I'm talking about real estate. And I'm talking about real estate to agents on a couple of my channels. And that's what I've gravitated more to. And then real estate to the consumer. So they're different messages. One is how to do business, right? And then the other one is what's happening with real estate, because I'm hearing so many different things from different angles. So that's my audience for me. And then I'm building out different channels at this point because Jeff keeps on poking me. So we're gonna do a few other things. But purposes can change too. You just have to be paying attention to how your audience is responding to it.
Yeah.
I like that. All right, dude. If Jeff brought up coaching, if you guys all want to check us out, go to drunkonsocial.com. It's typically $199. Is it $199 typically for the whole bundle? Is that how it works? Where you get business video school, you get us every other week, and that's the starting package. And then from there, you can go up higher. We are looking at doing another event. It would be our second event. It'll probably be next year around the same time that we ran last year's, and that was April. So we'll see. Same place. It was a great location right out of LAX, man. I loved it. In and out, super easy. All right, Jeff, anything else, man? That's all I got today.
Until the next time, man. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks for listening to Social Genius, brought to you by Drunk on Social. We are here to help you take your business to new levels through social media. Make sure to subscribe to get updates on new episodes and come join us on our Drunk on Social Facebook page. And as always, make sure you leave us a great review on your favorite podcast app. Feedback and likes are very much appreciated.